Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. In today's video we are going to discuss about certain reactions of phenol, especially those involving electrophilic substitution reaction. Usually those which have aromatic benzene ring usually undergoes electrophilic substitution reaction, and phenol is not except with other those of this. So phenol also undergoes electrophilic substitution reaction, but it undergoes an electrophilic substitution reaction to that extent which is not usually found in benzene also, which is because the OH group present in the phenol's benzene ring directs the incoming electrophile especially towards the ortho and para position, and further the lone pair of electrons on the oxygen also involves in the benzene ring, increasing the electron charge on the benzene ring. Therefore, phenols undergo the electrophilic substitution reaction to a greater extent when compared to benzene. Okay. Therefore, now we are going to discuss about two important electrophilic substitution reactions of phenols, that is nitration process and one is the halogenation process. So first one, electrophilic, so write on the heading, electrophilic aromatic substitution. Electrophilic aromatic substitution of phenols. So phenol undergoes two types of electrophilic substitution reaction, one which involves nitration process and the other one which involves halogenation process. When phenols are treated with dilute nitric acid, they form ortho and para nitrophenol. So first reaction is the nitration process, that is phenols can be treated with both dilute nitric acid and concentrated nitric acid. Now we first discuss about the reaction of dilute nitric acid with phenol, that is when phenol treated with, in the first case, phenol treated with dilute HNO3, that is dilute nitric acid. When you treat phenol with dilute nitric acid, it forms two products, that is orthonitrophenol and paranitrophenol, concentrated acid, so phenol. So it forms orthonitrophenol and paranitrophenol. Orthonitrophenol and paranitrophenol. These orthonitrophenol and paranitrophenol are two immiscible liquids, but they can be separated by fractional distillation process. That is because NO2 is less, in orthonitrophenol is more volatile when compared to paranitrophenol. Orthonitrophenol is more volatile when compared to paranitrophenol. Therefore, paranitrophenol is a major component as it has very less volatile nature. So, what happens for this variation in volatile nature is because orthonitrophenol and paranitrophenol both undergo hydrogen bonding in their molecular structure, but the only difference is orthonitrophenol undergoes intramolecular hydrogen bonding, whereas paranitrophenol undergoes intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So, if you write on the structure of this in split manner, let us say this is orthonitrophenol. We have oxygen with hydrogen over here, and the NO2 will be of this form, N double bond O. So these oxygen and hydrogen experiences hydrogen bonding. This particular hydrogen bonding is taking place inside the molecule itself. Therefore, this is intramolecular hydrogen bonding. This is intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Whereas in case of paranitrophenol, the nitro group is placed away from the OH group of the same benzene ring. Therefore, what happens in this case is the nitro group, oxygen present on the nitro group, reacts with the hydrogen of the other benzene ring. So this is one more phenol group. So the nitrogen oxygen present on this component will be having a hydrogen bond with the other molecule of nitrophenol, which results in intermolecular hydrogen bonding. This type of bonding is intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So what is the difference in between these two is, since orthonitrophenol is having an intramolecular hydrogen bonding, they always try to be forming a separate molecule individually, as the other nitro group may involve in the hydrogen bonding of this hydrogen. Okay, the orthonitrophenol molecule may try to stay separate in order to avoid intermolecular hydrogen bonding because of the nitro group of other phenol ring. In case of this, what happens is, since there is no intramolecular hydrogen bonding, it always tries to stay intact because of the intermolecular hydrogen bonding, like a long chain. Therefore, this molecule breaks down to particular parts, whereas this molecule tries to stay in a single chain. So clearly we can say that since it wants to break down to single parts, it is highly volatile. This, which doesn't want to break down, stays in a long chain, is less volatile. Therefore, paranitrophenol is major component, major product when compared to orthonitrophenol, and it is more stable when compared to orthonitrophenol. Okay, so this is about when phenol treated with dilute nitric acid. So what happens when you treat phenol with concentrated nitric acid? If you treat phenol with, so this was dilute, I didn't concentrate. So what happens if you treat phenol with concentrated nitric acid? If you treat phenol with concentrated nitric acid, there will be complete nitration at ortho and para position when you treat concentrated nitric acid. When you treat concentrated nitric acid with phenol, all the ortho and para position undergoes nitration to form a product called 2,4,6-trinitrophenol. Both ortho and para position undergoes nitration in the same reaction to form 2,4,6-trinitrophenol. This particular compound of 2,4,6-trinitrophenol is called picric acid. This particular compound is called picric acid. Okay, so this is the process when phenol is treated with concentrated nitric acid. When phenol is treated with dilute nitric acid, it forms two products. One is an orthonitro product and the other one is paranitro product. When you treat phenol with concentrated nitric acid, it undergoes direct nitration at orthos and para positions to form 2,4,6-trinitrophenol. Okay, so this is about the nitration of the phenol group. Next is halogenation. Especially we are going to discuss about bromination of phenol. Usually, for a bromination of phenol reaction, you might have to use certain Lewis acid, right? Usually, halogenation reactions of benzene ring involves catalyst as a Lewis acid. But when you have to brominate or halogenate a phenol ring, you don't have to use a Lewis acid. We can use a simple acidic solvents such as CHCl3 or CS2, cesium carbon sulfide or carbon tetrachloride. That is because the phenol ring already has a very high polar OH group present in the benzene ring. Therefore, there is no need of using a Lewis acid in case of halogenation process of phenol. So second one is we are directly taking bromination instead of halogenation. When you treat bromine molecule with phenol, when you treat bromine gas, okay, when you treat bromine, in presence of carbon tetrachloride, that is CHCl3, or CZM, carbon disulfide. So carbon disulfide, what we get is ortho and para bromophenol. What we get is ortho and para bromophenol. This reaction usually requires Lewis acid. Since the OH group present on the benzene ring is more polar, there is no need of using a protic, so there is no need of using any Lewis acid. And further, when you treat phenol with bromine water, which is a strong brominating agent, it forms tri-substituted product, that is 2,4,6-tribromophenol. It forms 2,4,6-tribromophenol. This is 2,4,6-tribromophenol. So out of these two, this is the major product, that is the para-bromophenol. That is, when you treat phenol with bromine gas in presence of CHCl3 or CS2, you prepare ortho and para substituted bromophenol. If you treat bromine water with phenol, this is bromine water in aqueous medium with phenol, you get 2,4,6-tribromophenol. So these are the two electrophilic aromatic substitution reactions which a phenol involves. Okay. Next, we are going to discuss about two important named reactions. Those are Kolbe's reaction and Riemann-Tiemann reaction. First, we will discuss about Kolbe's reaction. So first one is, that is the third type of reaction. In the previous video we have discussed about oxidation process. Second one, now we are going to discuss about the electrophilic substitution reaction. And now the third one is Kolbe's reaction. Kolbe's reaction. So what does this Kolbe's reaction explain? When you treat phenol with sodium hydroxide, we know phenol is more acidic in nature. Therefore, its respective conjugate base is more basic, right? So, phenol is a good electrophilic reagent to such extent that it can react with very minute weak electrophile also. That is, when you subject electrophilic substitution reaction, I said that for bromine molecule to form ortho and para product, it does not require Lewis acid because of the high polarization of OH bond. This particular same reason is useful for this Kolbe's reaction, where the sodium hydroxide, when treated with phenol, we know it forms sodium phenoxide ion, right? That particular sodium phenoxide ion is that much useful in order to react carbon dioxide as an electrophile, because carbon dioxide is the weakest electrophile possibly present. So what happens in this reaction is, when you treat phenol with sodium hydroxide, we know it forms sodium phenoxide, right? It forms sodium phenoxide, ONA. This sodium phenoxide, when treated with carbon dioxide, which is the weakest electrophile, when treated with carbon dioxide, it forms carboxylic salt of sodium phenoxide, that is ONA. This we call it as sodium salt of salicylate. This particular compound is called sodium salt of salicylate. In the reaction, what we do is, instead of stretching the reaction further, we write down the second point over here, that is H plus using. The uses of H plus, this is the compound which is formed when you treat with carbon dioxide is then subjected to hydrolysis with H plus ion. So Na will be lost to form phenol. Okay. So in the second step, we are using two steps in combined form. In the first, CO2 will be reacting over here at the ortho position, because that is the major position which has the influence of OH group. And in the second step, Na will be replaced because of hydrolysis with H plus ion. So Kolbe's reaction says that when you treat phenol with sodium hydroxide, it forms sodium phenoxide, which on treating with the weakest electrophile such as carbon dioxide, it forms salicylic acid. It forms salicylic acid, which is also called 2-hydroxybenzoic acid. The IUPAC nomenclature for this is 2-hydroxybenzoic acid, which is also called salicylic acid. This is also called salicylic acid, okay, on hydrolysis. So this is Kolbe's reaction. I will explain once again. When phenols are treated with sodium hydroxide, it forms sodium phenoxide, which on treating with carbon dioxide forms salicylic acid on hydrolysis. Okay, so this salicylic acid is what we are called over here, that is 2-hydroxybenzoic acid. This is Kolbe's reaction. Next is Riemer-Tiemann reaction. In a Riemer-Tiemann reaction, what are we going to do is, instead of forming salicylic acid, we are going to prepare salicylaldehyde. That is the fourth reaction, Riemer-Tiemann reaction. Riemer-Tiemann reaction. So in this reaction, when you treat phenol with sodium hydroxide, we know it forms sodium phenoxide, right? When you treat phenol with sodium hydroxide and carbon tetrachloride at the same time, when you treat phenol with carbon tetrachloride and aqueous sodium hydroxide, it forms a intermediate called chlorinated phenoxide ion, that is, which is like this, ONA and Cl and H at this position. This is the intermediate which is very important for the completion of this reaction. Intermediate which is formed when phenol is treated with sodium hydroxide and CHCl3, where we lose a molecule of HCl. Okay, we lose a molecule of HCl in this reaction. Next, what we are going to observe over here is, when you treat this particular intermediate with further more amount of sodium hydroxide, we are going to replace these chlorine atoms with oxygen. The chlorine atoms present over here will be replaced by oxygen to form compounds such as like this ONA, C double bond O, H. Okay, so this on hydrolysis with H plus ion, gives us OH, C double bond O, H. So this is the reaction which is going to take place. So what happens here is, if you observe carefully, we are going to first treat the alcohol, that is a phenol group, with sodium hydroxide and carbon tetrachloride. The carbon tetrachloride reacts with the ortho position of OH group and it forms a sodium phenoxide chlorinated intermediate. This intermediate on further treating with sodium hydroxide forms an aldehyde group at the ortho position because of the loss of 2 Cl atoms present over there, which on hydrolysis gives us our salicylaldehyde, which is also called as 2-hydroxybenzaldehyde. This is salicylaldehyde. This is salicylaldehyde, which is also called 2-hydroxybenzaldehyde. This particular process is called the Riemer-Tiemann reaction. Remember, this and the Kolbe's reaction are the very two important reactions, especially in case of phenols, which are especially a named reaction because these two reactions are named after the scientist who proposed those reactions. Okay, so this is all about for today. If you have understood this video, please subscribe to my channel and share this video among your friends. Thank you for watching.